welcome to Detroit in Black and White Saturday edition. Joining us today, Allan Lengel, co-founder of Deadline Detroit.
Good morning.
Jim Nardone, how you doing?
Good morning. Doing well, thank you.
And where are you at, Vanessa? Attorney Vanessa Moss. She's at the forum, one of the forum, one out of many.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning to all of you that are Detroit Black and White viewers. If you're watching, we want you to hit that like button, like, subscribe, and share. Tell all your friends about the greatest show on these YouTube streets. You can also catch us on all other social media platforms as well as Facebook. This morning, I am not at the studio. I am at the WCCCD Northwest Campus. There's a mayoral forum as well as a city council candidates forum. We'll be getting started about 10:15. One of the mayoral candidates is here. There are some supporters for
Which one?
The other mayoral candidates, but we're not supposed to get started until 10:15.
Who's
so
that?
We started. What I'll do is I will turn this down so they can't hear you guys talking. But so you guys can maybe hear.
We may have more important things to say than they do.
Well, maybe so. I don't know. But
What
what I will do is after I ask my question, I may step out and give a rundown as to what happened, what the response was. I think that's what I will do. The format is this. There's 3 moderators, and we're going to go in order. I'm going to ask my question last. Each of the candidates are going to be able to answer each one of the questions. But first, they have 2 minutes, 1 minute to introduce themselves and 2 minutes to do a closing at the end. And we're going to go in order. Each candidate is going to have to answer each question that the 3 of us have devised. And then we also have some youth that have added questions that they're going to ask, not only the mayoral candidates, but as well as the city council candidates.
Okay. What candidate is that?
Huh?
What candidate that got there early?
Oh, Joel, and I don't know how to.
Oh, yeah, okay. He's irrelevant. I'm gonna just tell you.
I'm not participating with you this morning because I don't think anybody is irrelevant.
Oh, yes, it is. I think that's me. I didn't say you thought that. Well, let me say what I'm gonna say.
I let you say
I'm
it.
doing my outrage. These forums are irrelevant, are stupid when they got 9, 10 fucking people sitting up on the stage. Damn, we don't know who good or who ain't shit and all this other stuff. But I'm able to get through the pile of manure to find out we do have several good candidates that Detroiters can choose from. But for these forums, when you got 5, 6, 7 people sitting up there, nobody's voting for them. It's a waste of fucking time. They bring about 5 of their own supporters there. And it's the people that should be talking to these people don't get a chance. Now, I had advocated to several other candidates that when they first started out their campaign, that they need to hook up with the ombudsman. He's been the ombudsman 10 years. He's been in that office another 5 before that. Who knows the city and who knows the community? I know that's what I would have said. Let me ride along with you. It's just the way the campaigns are run. People think you can put a yard sign. I need a magnifying glass to see the name of the person at a corner in an abandoned yard and shit. It's just a waste. Billboards where they just drive around the city. That's me. I look good. So the billboards don't vote. So,
yeah, but I'll say, I mean, the argument to counter that, I agree. I mean, it makes it harder to get more from the candidates who are really gonna, are truly in the race. But I mean, for other candidates who are jumping in the race, I mean, they're entitled to have some kind of form.
But you got you
Walking out in the hallway because you guys said this music was disturbing, so I walked out.
yeah, but you know what? You got to have some kind of rules in these forums.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And Marlon just walked in.
you can
A
have
whole
35
bunch of-
people.
I'm sorry.
You can have 35 people running for mayor. You're gonna
No,
put
I
them all on the
understand.
fucking
No,
stage.
no, I understand. I'm just saying that it's sort of also it's the people with the most money, with the most name recognition.
That's the way. That's
But
the way. That's the way of the world.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. And you know what? It used to be the League of Women Voters, and it used to be the media. It used to be folks that have a strong organizations put together good forums and stuff.
Yeah.
So now, if you got 3 leading candidates, you got them there, and you got them there. You can have 100 forums, but if you got the top 3 all the time, you're gonna get a good picture of who you're gonna vote for. This way, I'm running. I want to be on the stage.
But how do you pick those 3? By polls or by how do you make the determination?
People by polls saying who's polling. It's not the best way, but it is a way.
I mean, it seems like usually the 2 ways is polling and the amount of money that you're raising in your campaign. That's usually the 2 ways that they determine who should be in there. Is that right? I mean, I understand that's the reality of it. I mean, a guy like Tom Perkins has been pushed out of some of the debates.
And I disagree with that because if you're going to put in Joel, whatever his name is, and John Barlow and all these other folks, Tom Perkins should be included in some in these debates. Very articulate. He knows the issues. Been in Detroit. Yeah, I like it. No, and those in power that control some of these forums, they don't want tired of sitting up there making their candidate look stupid.
Right.
When you ask a couple of these candidates, how much land do the city own on riverfront, and basic questions that you should know the budget.
Right. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I see Todd has a really good presence on social media. He's got a good presence, and he's doing a lot of stuff in the community. I mean, he could be a surprise, not likely, but you never know.
Well, it could be a surprise.
Let me ask you this. I'm going to ask you this. I'm going to ask you guys to do this because it's supposed to get started in a few minutes. If there is a question that you guys would like for me to ask, put it on the screen because I did devise a question that I want to ask the mayoral candidate. But I may be able to ask a second question. I definitely have questions that I need to ask for the city council. I have not thought of the questions that I want to ask. But if you have a question, just
my question is I have too many forums. Ask the candidates, are there too many forums? See what you get. And you'll find out who will say it's too many and who says it's not too many. And I rest my case. The ones that say it's not enough, it's the ones that are drowning. And they need the exposure. And I understand. Jim, what you think?
Oh, MR1213 made a good point. He says this is how Sri Thanadar got his seat. There were too many people running, opposing each other instead of coming together. Karen Winston says she liked Todd Perkins too. She said she was going to come, but she decided to get a pedicure instead. Dorian Denard says all the campaigns. Basically, all these campaign forums are milquetoast. Candace says she likes Door Hall. He should be walking in. I hear a lot of people in the hallway now. A lot of us were running late this morning. So we were hoping that we could get it started at 10. Burdell says, Adolph, let the folk finish their thoughts, please.
Hey, well, you know what? I'm on here and you're not. So shut the fuck up.
Burdell, don't stop watching the show. Do not stop watching the
Go
show.
ahead, Jeff.
And when someone asks, where's the music coming from? That's in the auditorium. That's music, I guess, to soothe people. You know, people are entering the auditorium to get them comfortable.
Funeral
As
service.
soon as all of them are here, like I said, I'm going to mute myself, and I'm going to try to take my notebook so that you guys can see how many people are actually here. And then what I'll do is I'll come back out in the hallway and give you an account. Vanessa, ask the potential candidates to define affordable houses and not let the answer. That's a good one. Okay, that will be my second question. Okay, that will be my second question because I have to ask two. Okay.
Okay.
No, the Candace McCrae says, is it being live streamed? No, unfortunately, it's not. I'm about as live as the stream is going to get.
Let's say hi to our friends, Janet Overall, Kenneth Powell. Hey, Kenneth, how are you this morning? Ronald Hinkle, good morning to you. I hope you have a great day. Karen Winston, Dwellia, Dorian, we talked about Dorian, Mr. 1213, I think. Burdell, everybody, thanks for tuning in. So your question is, I forgot, it's been a while.
Well, it's been a while. Yeah, too many forms, Jeff.
Absolutely
See
too
the
many
comment
forms.
there, Adolph? That I love Adolph's foul mouth, always on time, and makes me smile.
I thought that was Dorian, though. It doesn't look like it's Dorian that said that.
No, that's Karen.
Go ahead.
Well, there's two forums before noon today. There's one in Southwest Detroit that's put on by a group of Latin group.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I
there's
don't know how much time you're going to get today. I don't know if they're going to pop in and pop out.
some of them are because there's another forum after this
Exactly. At 11 o'clock. There's two before
Yes.
noon today.
one.
So,
And then Swanson is holding a forum for those candidates that's going to be buried on August the 5th. You know, go to Swanson's, either go on Mac or go on McNichols, and
Well,
put you out of your misery.
I think it's interesting that people are saying that there's too many forums because I saw a news story last evening that said that a lot of people are not showing up at the forum. So even though they have a lot of forums, a lot of people are not showing up. It is my
because
position.
they don't have the format. See, if the format was right, listen, if you decide to do a forum, or Allan or Jim, etc., I think you have a right format, and you wouldn't have all these people sitting across from each other where you 2 minutes, man. You got 8 people. You got 16 minutes of introduction, 35 minutes or 40 minutes of bullshit that they tell you that affordable housing.
but that's important, Adolph. I think Dorian brings up
Not eight or 9 candidates. This is not city council. They're not running citywide. We're gonna have the top 2 in November. I say you get 4. You put 4 on the top 4 that you say this is the top 4, and those are the ones that you have these forums. You get a great.
I'm gonna walk away for a second. I'm gonna come right back.
Go ahead. Let's take a break, and we'll come back.
It's bleeding right in.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. Are you living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, or maybe you know someone who's in the same situation? The probate process may be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. We have several nonprofit partners who have free attorneys who can assist you. Contact our office, 313-224-5990, or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. Don't lose your family property. Some of these properties have been in the family for 4 or 5 generations. Contact us now. We're here to help.
There was a time as a kid I lived in an abandoned house. My first sermon was to 26 people. Now we're 40,000 strong. I'm Solomon Kinlock. Direct action has been my life's work, delivering groceries to thousands of families in need. My plan, tackle poverty with training for jobs that pay $35 an hour. build 10,000 affordable homes and make every neighborhood benefit from investment, not just downtown. I'm Solomon Kinlock. Lift every block.
Listen. Okay. Jim, you are going to do your outrage.
Well, that kind of leads right into my outrage. Dorian brings up a great point. Well, now we have a candidate. Hello, Janet, up in New York City. His name is Zoran Mamdani. So Zoran Mamdani is talking about, I guess, seizing housing and giving it to people that don't have housing. Well, we have a housing crisis, but I'm not sure that's the solution. I'm going to say this. This guy is the gift to the Republicans that keeps on giving. So they embraced him in Washington, D.C., and the House Democrats, AOC, and a few others, including Chuck Schumer, embraced this guy on the floor of the House of Representatives. This is the guy. Was it the Senate? I thought it was the House.
Well, Chuck Schumer.
Oh, I'm sorry. He's the senator. You're right. This is a guy that's going to ensure that we have people like Donald Trump for the next 20 years. So where does socialism often lead? Adolph, you're the historian. It leads to a dictatorship. They're embracing what they hate the most, Donald Trump.
We already got a dictator.
They're embracing what they hate the most, a dictatorship, because that's what he's going to do. He wants this.
If the people of New York City wants to elect this guy, elect him. That's what you do. We have lived under some of the most oppressive politicians in America at times, and we have survived it. But I understand your argument, But what difference is he from Trump and them?
He's the same. But what I really loved was there was a clip on it. If you get a chance,
you read Animal Farm, right?
Yes.
And that should tell you. Some first they say, "Oh, all animals are equal. Everything then, two-legged animals are better than four-legged, etc." In the end, they turn into what? Capitalists. The same people that they profess to hate, and that all he is a wolf in sheep clothing. He's Donald Trump.
What I really loved, if I can just add on this.
One second. We get ready to get started. So I'm about to go in and I'm going to
give him half. Vanessa. Okay, we'll come back before the show's over so you can tell us what's been happening. Okay. That's Vanessa Moss at one of the many forms that we have to endure in this election.
There's a beautiful clip online of him saying when he runs out of money, he just goes to his parents for more.
Okay, and the parents are the taxpayers. Listen, Donald Trump is extorted $16 million from CBS. He got money. He gonna get money from Rupert Murdoch.
No. I you know what? It's interesting. That story. I mean, it's interesting. People say, "Oh, it's Rupert Murdoch. He's gonna look." The wall. I hung out, and I'm still good friends. A lot of people who are, less now who are there at the Wall Street Journal. But I hung out when I was at the Post. I hung out with a group of people from the Washington Bureau, and when Rupert Murdoch took over, there was an initial, they were trying to meddle a little bit with the story, a political story, but they got the roar of the lion back, and they got put in their place. It's independent, and people say, "Oh, the Wall Street Journal's conservative." Well, the reporters are not conservative, but the Wall Street Journal is one of the great papers still. And I read the two reporters who did the story are investigative Pulitzer Prize winning stories out in New York. And, Donald Trump says, the whole thing is he drew a picture and it said, may all your secrets or whatever be. But he says, I never draw. But the Washington Post has a story today where they have drawings of him, 4 drawings that he put up for sale that he did.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I thought.
And so Rupert Murdoch's going to, Rupert Murdoch is not like Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos has fucked up the Washington Post. They're doing another round of buyouts now. I think the deadline's July 26th.
What about the guy with the LA Times?
And the LA Times, the same bullshit.
Yeah.
His daughter and him are meddling with all, Kevin Meredith quit. Kevin, I worked with him at the Washington Post. He was the editor, and he finally said, I'm out of here.
See, I was so used to working in these liberal
With
newspapers and shit. I started out with, I was at a paper and they thought Reagan was a flaming liberal. So, I had to go cover an event. It was the Rhodesian American Club of Colorado Springs. That's when Zimbabwe came into being. And I go in there and they thought you was back in the colonial days. I said, why am I here? Because that editorial policy was supporting South Africa, Rhodesia, as they called it.
Zimbabwe.
Yeah. When I asked the question, said Zimbabwe, it's Rhodesia. Cecil Rhodes dead, But the bottom line, Jim, is if people want to get back to your original thought, people want to elect this guy, boom.
They have every right to, but is that helping the Democrats?
Well, fuck the Democrats at this point. It's like when who was Blumenthal? Was that either mayor?
Bloomberg.
Another billionaire.
He went from independent, Republican,
right.
Democrat.
He was everything.
He was everything. And New York City is one of those places where you can run as an independent and run as a Republican at the same time.
Right.
He still might not win.
Yeah.
But he's gonna win. Because
he's going to win.
Kumo and Eric Adams is not.
Are old news.
Well, they don't want to get out the race. They both don't.
It could be. I mean, look, the Republican candidate there is that the guardian angel guy.
Curtis Lewa.
Curtis Lewa. So he's.
You mean Sleeves bad?
Yeah, he's not going to win. But I mean, I was reading in the New York Times there were a couple meetings that they've had with this candidate, business people. Jewish people in the community the business people are saying, you're going to tax us out of the city. We're going to leave the city. You're not going to have, that tax base from us. And, the Jewish people are like, he'd been advocating a worldwide intifada,
right?
In a fight against Israel. And, New York is the biggest Jewish population in the U.S.
Well, where he grew up at.
And I don't have any problem with somebody being against Israel, against the war, whatever. But and that's fine. But if you start creating an environment where it's like death to Israel and all that kind of stuff, and you create a forum for more anti-Semitism, that is a concern.
Well, at one time, Israel was good friends with Uganda. They built the airport.
Right.
And that's why they could go in and they knew
the raid on Entebbe.
Yeah.
When you're done, Alan, I want to go to the comments. I want you to finish your thought on it.
But I'm going to say, look, some socialist things. We have some socialism. We have Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. We have some social services, socialist services here.
Absolutely.
And so it's okay to have some balance here. But, if you're going to chase out the business community, New York has already been challenged through the pandemic. We've seen a lot of businesses close there. It's as expensive as hell.
Well, what's the
People
difference?
Can't live in Manhattan.
What's the difference when you got billionaires in Cleveland wanting the taxpayers of Cleveland not only build them a $10 billion stadium, but to maintain it, etc., for their entertainment. Soon as they got $600 million in cash from the state, the two owners of the Cleveland Browns went and bought a $25 million mansion. You know what? We do it here.
We do it here. We do it.
The Illiges, Dan Gilbert.
Haslam? Who's the owner? Haslam?
Tom Gore's got $40 million from the city, 35, 40, $5 million, and gave the city of Detroit a basketball court at Ruse Park. And that's what we get out of it. That's some bullshit.
Look, the thing, people are always thinking that you need to subsidize and help these rich sports owners. The Palace was built with private money. The Golden State Warriors built a new arena in San Francisco. I think it was like,
but you look at what they have done.
$1.1 billion in San Francisco.
Let them go. I like the conservative side.
All privately funded.
Listen, look at what they have done in Oakland, California. They built all these stadiums at one time. They had the Oakland A's, the basketball, the football, and they all just say, fuck you, and go to Vegas.
Right.
And they leave these empty ass stadiums.
Oakland A's are playing Sacramento.
Yeah.
And then they're moving to Vegas.
Right.
They the gift that keep giving because people are complaining that it's a fucked up minor league park. But go ahead, Jim, and read some of the comments.
Candace McRae decided what? I'm not sure, Candace. Shakespeare had a solution. Willis Martin.
Kill all the attorneys.
Libtards being libtards. Thank you, Timo. Dorian, billionaire graph, nothing like it. G Money Hollywood finally weighed in. Thank you, Candace. People are tired of all these weak politicians' false promises and deliverables. So if I lived in the city, I would still be sleeping. Sorry, my eyes. I would still be sleeping as well. The bottom line, the voters have already decided. I think you may be right on that. Yeah. Truth Bubble, Dorian, the founding fathers. Thanks for your comment on Thomas Jefferson. What's the link to the forum, Mr. 1213? There is no link. It's just live today. Over there at Wayne County Community College District on, where's it at? I'm
not sure. It's the Northwest. It's the
Northwest
campus.
That's magnificent.
Okay.
It used to be where
off Southfield.
Yeah, remember Mercy College?
Yes.
It used to hang there. It was all girls school.
Wayne Community College. I was over on the east side Saturday at a party. They've got their footprints in the city where I didn't realize how prominent.
I don't have an address, but it is at Southfield and McNichols area.
Mercy.
The old Mercy.
Yes. Right.
Hello, Sam. Thanks for tuning in. Willis, too bad there's not a viable third party. Absolutely.
Well, Doug is trying to make it a third party, and he's doing a hell of a job of getting support early and often.
And Dorian, my only comment is it's okay, like Allan called it, a balance between government and business, but we don't want too much of either one. And socialism leads when the mayor is talking about seizing the means of production, we have an issue. And when he's talking about taking housing.
I mean, people. Look, we have here in Detroit on Woodward, they have the new grocery store, the Detroit Co-op. It's a co-op. They took
prices are high.
Have you been?
Yeah.
Yeah. I keep meaning to still go there. It's a $200, I think, to be a membership, although you can shop there without being a member. They've raised, money and they're doing it, you could call it a co-op sort of a socialist.
There's nothing wrong with that. But when you talk about seizing the means of productivity,
right?
In New York City, where Wall Street is, where
what did you call it when the city of Detroit took a whole community in 79, 80 and destroyed it on behalf of General Motors. Whole time. And General Motors made all these fucking promises. It's going to be a tech town. It's going to blow you away.
Right.
It blew us away. What is it, one plant?
I want to throw in some, General Motors, it's interesting. They're moving their headquarters now to the Hudson's building. But I was going to say, their headquarters keep shrinking and shrinking, and the footprint in the Hudson's building is shrinking because the reality is the GM headquarters is in Warren.
Way out in Warren.
It's in the tech center.
There.
That's where Mary Barra hangs out. That's where Mary Barra does interviews.
But it's been there since after World War II, because when they start moving out, because they were worried that Detroit was a target for terrorists, the Nazis, the Germans, whatever. But the bottom line, General Motors ain't been in Detroit in a long time.
Well, I'm not going to go there. The
But
GM building was a
Bullard,
vibrant
right.
community with the Fisher building, the GM
Right,
building,
right.
the Argo buildings, then down here to Rensen.
And then they did what? Then they do what?
Then they move to the Rensen,
Then they do what?
and then they keep moving and moving.
It's like Chrysler. Chrysler looked at Highland Park and said, "Here's $2. Buy." I'm just telling you what these. When we depended on the auto industry, it was like junkies on heroin. And when the heroin dried up, what happens? You either die or you just sit there as a shell of your once vibrant self.
But that was an exciting place. The GM
I don't
building,
remember
the
that.
Normandy, and
I
what's
don't
on
remember.
second? These
I
nice
don't remember
restaurants
that.
were
I
down
don't
there by the
remember.
GM building.
What is on second? What is on second?
No, nothing.
Okay, then. Yeah, I liked it when the prostitutes and them was over there.
Can I go back to the comments?
Let's do a commercial. Let's do a
Okay.
commercial and we'll be back.
That was fun.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. If you're living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, the probate process can be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
Yeah, we are
Welcome back. Jim, why don't you do some more comments?
I just want to read a couple more of the comments. Terry McCrimmon, damn, that place is empty. Vanessa, I don't know if Vanessa can hear us. Maybe we're just missing the crowd. Democrats fighting like hell for the illegals. Willis Martin also is talking about trans rights, which is a non-starter for him. It's not a non-starter for everybody, but thank you for your comment. Candace also barely there's anybody there. And Candace is she likes Fred Durhal. We like Fred Durhal too. He was on the show. It was a pretty good interview.
Yeah.
I want to say something about the Democrats fight. Democrats are fighting for democracy. It's like nobody, like
Well, that's an opinion.
Well, yeah. Well, look, if people are here illegally, they should be deported. But they had a guy on CNN last night. He's Hispanic. He's a veteran of the military service. He's a U.S. citizen, and he was detained for 3 days. And he kept telling them he missed his daughter's birthday party. It's a young guy who was trying to get to work, and they detained him, and they wouldn't listen to him. And he's like, "I'm a veteran. I'm a U.S. citizen."
That don't mean nothing.
And that's the thing. It's like nobody's like people are like, "Oh yeah, we all want Venezuelan gang members, fucking up, cities and stuff like that." Democrats, we just don't want people being grabbed off the street who are U.S. citizens who are not. And and part of it is the whole campaign.
Even the Nazis didn't wear the mask.
Right.
And shit. They show their true faces.
Right.
These folks, you don't know. You got a mass,
Right.
a group of mass people coming at you in plain clothes and stuff. What you supposed to do?
Right.
They're wearing masks for the wrong reasons because they shouldn't be afraid to be identified as
Right.
law enforcement.
Right.
I was in a drug unit where people wore masks when they went on search warrants, but these are undercover officers that may be exposed if they were buying drugs in Southwest Detroit or on the East Side, and people may recognize them walking into a house. So they wore masks. We wore masks. I shouldn't say they. We did that.
Yeah. No. I agree, but I mean, for people to be these broad, libtards and all that kind of stuff, it's like the priest from World War II who wrote and said, first they came for the socialists, I wasn't a socialist. Then they came for the Jews, I wasn't a Jew, and then they came for me. And that's, I think even if we're not that person, we should be caring about, other people's rights.
Unfortunately, people get caught up. It's a wide net that they cast, and unfortunately, some people get caught up, and it shouldn't happen, but it happens all the time. It happens in in the criminal justice system all the time. Somebody gets caught up in the net that shouldn't be in the net, and
I'll tell
It's
you.
not an excuse,
but you taking people off the streets and forcing other countries to take people that don't speak
exactly,
language,
I couldn't agree with you more.
dropping them in the middle of nowhere.
I was on strike at the Detroit News, and they were the newspapers were using not only scabs, but they were using immigrants, undocumented immigrants. I called because I covered federal law enforcement. I called the head of INS at the time. It was called INS, and I said, they got a Sterling Heights plan. I said, they're using all these illegal immigrants or whatever, undocumented immigrants. And she's like, I don't want to get involved in that. So it was like the politics of it. So much of it is politics. I mean,
I agree.
we all want, they talk about safer streets and stuff like that. The dishwasher, the cook, the woman who's, cleaning the hotels and stuff like that. They want numbers.
We went through this before. Through an Eisenhower administration, they did the same thing that Trump is doing. They sent back citizens, people that was born here. I just think it's going to come to bite them in the ass, because what Trump is saying, well, let's get rid of birthright, all this other shit. Technically, his kids are not citizens. Ted Cruz ain't a citizen, because they say his mother hadn't lived in the U.S. for 10 years to qualify, as being.
That will never happen. They're not getting rid of birthright citizenship.
Well, you say it never happened, but you're going to wake up and Clarence Thomas is going to say, people of African American descent, we need to ship them back. It sent you to a whatever country.
Right.
I'm Puerto Rican, but I'm in South Sudan.
I want to go back to a couple comments. Candace talked about Mom Donnie. I think it's Mom Donnie. Ally said they're going to primary Hakeem Jeffries. They're crazy, like Rashida. How many more Democrat politicians want to let? I think it means men playing women's sports. Willis, thank you for your comments. Dorian, New York has produced some of the worst politicians.
I think men playing women's sports. You know what? That's just a bullshit issue.
Name me one that hasn't destroyed their credibility. We'll work on that one, Dorian. Thank you. It'd be boring if we all agreed with each other all the time. So, Barron. Is Barron an illegal? Karen's bringing up Barron. Candace.
Barron.
To G Money's talking to Candace. Even with the variety forums they have to select from to attend, the numbers are just not there. It's sad that people don't vet anymore, but then again, it's because they're fed up with false hope. That is a big challenge for these candidates and these.
And an election might be over because the people that vote, the absentee voters, are probably undecided who they're gonna pick for the top two.
Sure.
So if you didn't get your absentee program together, you out of luck.
And on purpose I missed this comment about someone. Oh, Ayanna Stanley. It's 2010. It was 2000. I believe it was 2010.
It was a while ago.
Ayanna Stanley Jones, rest in peace. That's a tragic made-for-TV event.
Well,
predictable.
They had the cameras following them. So.
Well, let's go back and figure out what happened in that case. I think we all know what happened in that case. I'm not going to say, because some of those folks are possibly still in power now.
Yeah,
she was killed on May 16, 2010.
2000, yeah, exactly.
Well, if I was a candidate, I wouldn't go to any forums. I'll be somewhere where I can get out to vote. There's folks, you can make voting a national holiday. Give them 3 days off with pay. The weather is great. The polling places across the street from you, and these people still won't go vote.
Well, I was going to say, I think you don't need to have a 3-day holiday, but I think the day up, we have early elections right now. The early elections, I think, in Detroit
But people
start
don't
July
vote, but
26th
they don't vote.
to a couple days before the election. And then election day, you could have it it should be a holiday, particularly a presidential election, make sure people get out there and vote.
Thank you on purpose for your comment. My question to you, gentlemen, and to our guests, our friends out here, are these forums just a pep rally for the supporters of their candidate?
It's a shit show.
I think it's I don't know that it's it ends up perhaps being a pep rally, but I mean, the intention is good. You want people to understand but it's hard.
It ain't a pep rally. A pep rally is you got a crowd, you got cheering, you got enthusiasm,
right,
etc. This is a shit show. You got 8, 9 people, whatever, as where are the real folks that you're trying to speak to?
Right.
Where are Mrs. Jackson and Miss Smith and Mr. Jones?
Who's appealing to the seniors? That's a question I have.
Nobody.
That's an area that I think James Craig could have really capitalized on, and I don't believe that he has.
Well, there's different groups in the city. I mean, that we also tend to overlook in these elections is Southwest has a big, Hispanic, Latino.
They don't vote.
Community.
And I'm gonna tell you.
And then you have.
ICE might be at the damn polls. And I talk to folks that live over in Southwest Detroit. People scared to be seen somewhere.
Yeah, well, Vanessa says here the candidates are Joel Hashim, Sheffield, Perkins, Durhal, Jenkins, and Barlow, and write-in candidate Arnold Boyd.
So write-in candidate. Oh yeah, I guess Duggan was the write-in candidate.
Yeah.
So
Vanessa's asking us to make the screen bigger so we can.
No, that's me to her.
Oh, I got you.
That's right.
Oh, wait a minute, that's you, Teresa.
That's me.
But look, I mean, we have to find the media has not done a great job of covering the issues. I mean, they've tried, but it's so hit and miss. Look, the media, people talk about, we're going to see less. We're going to see. We haven't seen enough scrutinizing. The Free Press has one dedicated reporter to City Hall.
But when you concentrate on get moved into the city, we got more pressing issues with these candidates. They're not asking the right questions. Why don't you ask the question was, one of our candidates sat on the board of the Riverfront Conservancy. Did they take any, I know I would ask the question, did you take any donations from Will Smith? That's a legitimate question.
Absolutely.
Because when you say I'm not on the oversight committee, that tells me something.
You're talking about Mary Sheffield.
Yes, I'm talking about Mary Sheffield, and nobody asked these questions.
I agree.
And I asked some folks from the Detroit News about all this. They didn't want to hear it. I said, this shit sounds just like
Kwame. Joe Biden. It's a Joe Biden.
It's a Kwame. I'm looking at what they did in 2001. They had all these red flags on Kwame, and they never wrote about it, never asked these questions. Then when you get in the middle of a camp of a term, all of a sudden he's a crook. He's taking money. Oh, surprise. Same way there was an election in Charlotte, North Carolina several years ago. City council guy ran for mayor and won. Guess what? The FBI said, we've been investigating this guy for a year. And now, since he's been elected mayor, we indict him. The questions, the red flags was there, and nobody asked the tough question.
Can I make a quick correction?
Go ahead.
I want to thank, where were they? Chaz Duckett, who said Kinlock has been to every senior citizen's home in the city, it seems like. If that's correct, Chaz,
he wins.
I agree with that. Candace McRae, also, I volunteer for people I believe in. Thank you, Candace. We knocked doors for 8 hours. and not get 20 people to open the door, which is a challenge. Really.
And you know what it is?
Kinlock? She's campaigning for Kinlock. Or?
She didn't say, and she doesn't need
What
to
makes her similar to Kwame is that, hey, listen, look at she got Machiavelli right behind her campaign.
Her father.
Yeah, and if you don't know who Machiavelli is, you need to go look. You need to go check him out.
And Karen Winston says they vote for Rashida and Gabriella in Southwest Detroit.
But that shit goes back to Bachman. He built up a dynasty over in Southwest Detroit with Rashida Tlaib and how many other folks that have come through there.
And our friend Dorian Denard's asking to write his name in as a police commissioner seat. Now, non-payment is sufficient for me to be a watchdog for law enforcement in Detroit.
Why didn't he get on the ballot?
Well, let's just talk to all our colleagues out there. If you live in the city of Detroit, Dorian Denard is a smart young fellow. So,
He sure is.
You know what I got? I want to.
Let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and we'll wrap it up on that next.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. If you're living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, the probate process can be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
There was a time as a kid I lived in an abandoned house. My first sermon was to 26 people. Now we're 40,000 strong. I'm Solomon Kinlock. Direct action has been my life's work, delivering groceries to thousands of families in need. My plan, tackle poverty with training for jobs that pay $35 an hour, build 10,000 affordable homes, and make every neighborhood benefit from investment, not just downtown. I'm Solomon Kinlock. Lift every block.
Yeah,
Okay, we're back.
We're back. I was going to say Jerome Powell, like Trump keeps talking about trashing the Fed chair because he won't lower the interest rates. And look, the guy's done I think he's done a great. I mean, he's done a great job of keeping inflation reasonable under the circumstances. You know, after the pandemic, we had crazy inflation, and we're just kind of trying to keep it under control. But I just want to play this real quick video.
He also got tough words for Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell.
Do you have plans, or if you're back considering firing Jerome Powell?
He's a terrible Fed chair. I was surprised he was appointed. I was surprised, frankly, that Biden put him in.
Yeah, what the hell was Joe Biden thinking when he picked Jerome Powell? Did he at least explain himself when he appointed Powell as Fed chair? Let's go back and watch that announcement.
It is my pleasure and my honor to announce my nomination of Jerome Powell to be the next chairman of the Federal Reserve.
I just think it's so funny. I mean, you know, a guy who screams fake news all the time, and he puts out so much misinformation. But you wanted to talk about the Epstein thing, and I'm saying, you know, I find it fascinating that this is the sticking point for the MAGA people. I mean, there are so many things going on. There's so many, you know, questions about the violations of the Constitution and stuff. And it's the Epstein thing that is driving the MAGA base crazy. Like, they want to see the list. If, you know, they kept talking that, yes, there's a list, and Pam Bondi said it's on my desk.
They don't want to kill Prince Charles.
Yeah.
Because he knows that his brother had his hand out. Listen, Epstein bought an island out from the Bahamas. He bribed all the elected officials in the Virgin Islands, the American Virgin Islands. He paid for Clinton. All these folks patted their pocket, Donald Trump included. Now they don't want to send out a list. And I think that's one of the reasons why Democrats didn't put a list and say we got a list.
Because they got folks on it too.
Yeah, they got folks on it.
Yeah.
There's some potential landmines.
I mean, Bill Clinton,
Right.
there's always a good chance Bill Clinton is on the list. I mean, the funny thing is now Trump is saying
Allan Dershowitz.
Allan
Yeah.
Lengel, Adolph Mongo.
Right.
Are you guys on the list?
Well,
we don't rate.
I don't rate.
We don't rate.
Well, it's interesting because I was doing some reading
I'd have
last
more
night.
money if I were on the list.
First, let me just talk to an old friend of ours, Kenneth Reed, who I think he's been backpacking in Europe for the last 12 months because we miss him. He came down to see us once. And,
Yeah.
hello, Kenneth. It's good to see you back. I hope your backpacking trip was good for you. I was doing a little research, and I looked back to Hawaii and Lanai. If you guys have been to Hawaii, if any of our people have been to Hawaii, Dole basically did a bloodless coup and took over the kingdom of Hawaii.
Yeah, they threw the queen off. Yeah, of course.
And that's exactly it's not different than Jeffrey Epstein, right?
Right.
If you look back, it's 100 years ago they did this.
And then the U.S. government just took it from Dole.
He became the governor,
Yes.
and then his family moved in, and now, interestingly enough, you know who owns Lanai now, the island of Lanai? Do you guys know?
Yeah.
Larry Ellison.
Wow.
He owns 98% of the island.
Well, why was we in Korea? Because all part of it was Singer Sewing Machine Company. If we look at why do we fight some of these wars and why are we here, why are we doing that, it's because, rich billionaires.
So we covered both sides.
Vietnam, we had all these corporate interests, Coca-Cola, everything in Vietnam. We were fighting for,
Why do you think Rubio's daddy and granddaddy and Ted Cruz daddy all hate Cuba so much? Because Bacardi's for some reason think they're gonna be able to go back into Cuba and get back what the Castro took from them.
Right.
We pushed all the pimps and the casinos and all these national chains out of Cuba.
And Michael
Why
Corleone.
do you think that we give a shit about the Middle East? Because of the oil.
Right.
Well, we're covering both sides of the argument. We're talking about how socialism's bad. We're talking about how sometimes capitalism can be a challenge.
We killed the Shah of Iran, grandfather, and put him on the throne. Same way in Jordan. Iraq had a king at one time. The Ba'ath Party. We put
Saddam Hussein.
We put him in power. God damn. Bin Laden.
We helped the Taliban.
We gave Bin Laden weapons to fight the Russians. He was a hero.
Right. We helped the Taliban fight the Russians, and then they turned into
Ho Chi Minh fought the Japanese, and he looked to America after World War II to help them unite the country. And we said, fuck that. We want the French to go back in there and kick your ass. You know what? Can't play both sides of the fence.
And Karen's got it right. Thanks, Karen, for your comment. How many normal people can purchase an island? I can barely afford to purchase an iPhone. Thank you,
well,
Karen.
The state of Michigan purchased an island.
Something that starts with an I, an iPhone.
I think Vanessa has something to say.
Right.
We create more neighborhood watch and other activations for our youth. Use long hair. If they were working during the day, then they wouldn't.
Probably got us on mute.
All right, I'm gonna put it on. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, the Epstein thing, I think is there's some humor to it, to really a tragedy. I mean, the tragedy of young women who were exploited. But now, I mean, the idea that he says now we're going to push for the grand jury. First of all, it never went to trial, so it's rare that a grand jury, except if the grand jury material was used at trial, you don't release grand jury material. So the judge is going to be a little puzzled and say, well, what is it? This never went to trial. We don't release grand jury material. Why is? And the second thing is, the grand jury material is not going to say anything about who why don't he
pardon his girlfriend?
Oh, Ghislaine or whatever.
Yeah. So you're talking about the week that was, and Steve Fishman, some of his comments. Can you cover some of that with our viewers? If they didn't see that show, I think he made some great points.
Yeah, I mean, basically, you don't release. I mean, first of all, you don't release any of the materials of a case that hasn't gone to trial. The grand jury is generally, the judge is going to be puzzled and say, we don't normally release grand jury material anyways. even if it was not introduced in trial, but there was no trial. He was awaiting.
There was no criminal investigation.
He was awaiting trial. And so, right. And then, so then they talk about a special counsel. There are a special counsel is there to figure out, right now what it should be is the Inspector General of the Justice Department should be looking at, is there a cover up here over whatever, but
won't they both cover it up, Adolph? Won't the Democrats and Republicans
the
cover
Inspector
up the
General never does. The Inspector General is
listen, they didn't want to release this shit because the Bill Clintons and Trump, Alan Dershowitz, all these folks. We got Vanessa. You got that? Can we get Vanessa on there?
For the past few years, particularly in those late hours, folks coming and taking over blocks. Pretty much only residents who live.
We had a comment. I'm sorry. Trying to colonialism just aren't governments alone. Wealthy pricks do it if nobody is looking. Thank you, Doreen. You also made it. Capitalism is inherently evil. Yes, it's useful. Greed expires innovation. What about Governor Whitmer's investigation on purpose?
Well, everybody, the media really didn't go into when Duggan gave his now wife, it was his girlfriend, $700,000.
Make a date.
Yes.
He did get scrutinized by the press, and he also did. There was was it the Inspector General who did a report?
But he got a slap on the hand.
Yeah.
Kwame got beat up for driving a Navigator that they overpaid for. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like Tom Hanks said in Big, playing with the toy. I don't get it. They couldn't make that movie today, could they?
Yeah.
Hello, Taria84. Good morning to you. Thanks for tuning in. You can always go back and watch the whole mess.
When you say that, I don't get it. That David Brenner, the comedian, always said, he says, what I want on my tombstone is to say, if this is a joke, I don't get it.
Boy, he could have on his tombstone. I told you I was sick.
So we were hoping that Vanessa could kind of give us a little view, a little look at the crowd there and see what's going on.
It's okay. We can agree on
Vanessa.
Vanessa cannot hear us.
All right.
Okay. Well, final thought, Alan.
Final thoughts. I'm watching with fascination now that Trump is suing the Wall Street Journal. They're digging their heels in and saying we stand by the report. Like I said, the two reporters are both Pulitzer Prize winners on the investigative team out of New York for the Wall Street Journal. And look, not that papers don't fuck up, but when you go for the king, you better be pretty solid.
Better take his hand off.
And it goes through, and I know being at the Washington Post, Detroit News, when we had investigative pieces that were really kind of, fiery, we went through lawyers word by word, and they would say, well, what do we know about this? How do you know this? We can't say this. How about if we say it this way? So those stories are so carefully vetted before they make it on, and they're standing behind it. And Rupert Murdoch's not going to back down like ABC.
No, he's not.
I just want to thank our friends out there that made all their positive comments, and their perspectives have given me a new way to look at a few things. And I just want to say thank you to everybody. We appreciate it. This show doesn't go without you.
Well, what can I add on to it? That we got an election coming up. I think we got too many forums. If I was advising any candidates, I would tell them, don't go find you some votes. That's what you got to find, not going to these so-called rallies.
Right. And there's going to be early voting, I think starts July 26th, and I think it goes through Sunday of July 3rd or something like that. So you don't have to vote on the day of the election. You can go in, and I think you can actually go in the day of the election and actually register to vote.
Yes.
And Trump is trying to bully his way to receiving a Nobel Peace.
That's hysterical.
And if they give him a Nobel Peace Prize, they need to just
It'll cheapen the
blow up
prize.
Alfred Nobel grave site,
Right.
you know.
And they got, I mean, a joke is they got Netanyahu just telling him, I nominated him. He's like, oh, me? What?
Yeah, well, anyway, we'll be back here on Wednesday of next week, and we'll continue to follow the election and talk about the things that are important to our viewers. I want to thank all our viewers. I want to thank Teresa, Vanessa, Allan Lengel, Jim Nardone. I'm Adolph Mongo. See you next week.